Do you really think you know Henry WinKLER, the actor who became an icon with his role as the Fonz on Happy Days? Behind that cool, effortless smile and leather-jacketed swagger lies a story Hollywood never wanted the public to see. The truth is, Henry's journey on the set of one of the most beloved shows of the 1970s and 1980s was far from glamorous. From the very first days on the Paramount lot, WinKLER was subjected to rules so strict, so rigid, and at times so cruel that they tested not only professional commitment but also his emotional resilience. Today, we're peeling back the layers of Hollywood secrecy to reveal the harsh rules he had to follow, the moments that pushed him to his breaking point, and the hidden personal battles he endured while maintaining the image of the ultimate cool guy. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Every subscription and thumbs up tells YouTube to share these exclusive behind-the-scenes revelations with more fans eager to uncover the truth about Hollywood legends. If you're able to support even further, consider leaving a super thanks to help the channel produce more content like this. And if you can't, simply drop a comment about what surprised you most as we go along. Stay with us until the very end. The final revelation will leave you shocked and will change forever how you see Henry WinKLER's life on and off screen. From the very beginning of Happy Days, Henry was told exactly how to behave, how to move, and even how to respond in interviews. The production team, fearing that the Fonz would overshadow other characters, imposed a strict code of conduct that Henry had to follow without question. These rules dictated everything from his wardrobe choices to the way he spoke on set, and even what he was allowed to say about other cast members in public. Any deviation could result in fines, reduced screen time, or being written out of episodes. The pressure was relentless, and WinKLER, despite his growing popularity, had little room for personal freedom. Every scene he acted in, every smile he gave to fans, had been carefully monitored to ensure it fit the show's manufactured image of cool. But behind closed doors, Henry often felt trapped and isolated, his creative instincts suppressed by the chain of Hollywood expectations. What most fans don't realize is that Henry's early life already prepared him for this struggle, though not without cost. Born on October 30th, 1945, in New York City, Henry faced learning difficulties and social challenges from a young age. Dyslexia made school a battlefield, forcing him to develop resilience and determination to communicate and succeed in ways others did not understand. This background gave him inner strength, yet Hollywood would test him in a completely different, relentless arena. The Fonz were supposed to be untouchable, admired, and emulated, a perfect symbol of effortless cool, but the man behind the leather jacket was often quietly suffering. Directors and producers pressured him to maintain an image that was, at times, entirely at odds with his natural personality. Interviews were scripted, public appearances choreographed, and personal opinions censored. He had to constantly navigate the fine line between personal expression and professional expectation, a balancing act that few in the public ever suspected. The set itself, though iconic, became a pressure cooker for Henry. Other cast members, producers, and network executives constantly reminded him of his responsibilities, and any slip could have enormous repercussions. In meetings, he was often given directives that seemed arbitrary or excessively punitive, yet these were enforced as non-negotiable. Even minor infractions, such as forgetting a line or smiling at the wrong moment, were grounds for reprimand. The message was clear. No matter how charismatic or talented, Henry WinKLER was to embody the Fonz at all times, sacrificing personal spontaneity for the sake of the show's manufactured perfection. This environment was emotionally taxing, leading to moments of self-doubt and profound stress. And yet he persevered, masking his struggles with that unmistakable Fonz grin that fans worldwide adored. One of the most shocking aspects of Henry's experience was the total control over his public persona. Studio executives dictated even seemingly trivial matters: how he wore his hair, the angle of his leather jacket, the types of jokes he could make in interviews, and how he interacted with fans at promotional events. Personal freedom was nearly non-existent, and the actor who inspired millions had little say in how he presented himself outside of the camera. The weight of these expectations was compounded by the sheer popularity of the show. Happy Days was not just a television series. It was a cultural phenomenon. Henry WinKLER's every move was scrutinized, not only by the producers but by an eager public, creating a pressure cooker that few could endure. Despite this, he remained committed, understanding that the Fonz was more than a character. He was an institution that demanded perfection. Yet, behind the Fonz, Henry wrestled with his humanity. The constant need to adhere to studio rules and maintain a flawless persona created emotional strain. Friends and colleagues have described moments where WinKLER would quietly retreat, overwhelmed by the dual demands of performing at his peak while navigating the hidden strictures of Hollywood. The rules were not simply about professionalism. They were about controlling a brand, and Henry's personal needs often came second. The mental toll of this control became a silent battle, with the actor forced to find private ways to decompress, often alone. This side of WinKLER's story is almost never discussed. The personal cost of maintaining an image that was beloved by millions but governed by invisible chains of expectation and control. Even as he achieved massive fame, Henry continued to face challenges that most audiences would never imagine. Meetings with network executives could become contentious, with discussions over contract terms, character arcs, and screen time leading to tension and stress. Any suggestion that he wanted creative input was often met with resistance, emphasizing that the Fonz belonged to the brand, not to the man portraying him. Behind closed doors, he grappled with the implications of losing control over his own career, a reality that is difficult for fans to comprehend. Each episode required adherence to strict protocols, rehearsals were meticulously structured, and improvisation was discouraged. In many ways, Henry was performing a delicate dance, balancing compliance with the studio's demands while preserving the spark of authenticity that made the Fonz beloved. At home, the pressures continued. Maintaining personal relationships, privacy, and a sense of normalcy was complicated by the constant public attention and the demands of his role. WinKLER had to develop strategies to protect himself and his family from intrusive media coverage, fan scrutiny, and the relentless schedule of production. These protective measures, while essential, often deepened the isolation he felt. The man who seemed carefree and untouchable on screen was, in reality, navigating a labyrinth of personal and professional constraints that few could endure. It was a balancing act that required discipline, resilience, and a strategic understanding of the Hollywood machine. Despite all of this, Henry's commitment to his craft and his character never wavered. He understood that his audience expected a version of the Fonz that was polished, unflappable, and iconic. Yet behind that exterior was a man enduring hardship, learning to cope with relentless scrutiny and navigating a complex web of studio demands. His story is a testament to the hidden struggles actors often face, revealing profound disconnect between public perception and private reality. WinKLER's experience on Happy Days is a stark reminder that fame often comes in emotional and personal costs that audiences rarely see. And this is just the beginning. As we continue, we'll reveal even more shocking details about the rules Henry WinKLER was forced to follow, the moments that tested his resilience, and the hidden consequences that nearly broke him. Stay with us, subscribe to the channel, and hit the like button to ensure that these hidden truths reach the widest audience possible. Consider leaving a super thanks if you want to support our work further, or comment below which part of Henry's story shocks you the most. The full story, including the final revelation that unveils how these pressures reshaped not only his career but his life, is coming, and you won't want to miss it. As Henry WinKLER continued navigating the set of Happy Days, the pressures intensified in ways the public would never guess. Behind the leather jacket and trademark grin, he was constantly monitored, evaluated, and at times micromanaged by producers and network executives who viewed him not as an artist, but as a brand to be controlled. Every scene he filmed, every interaction with co-stars, every smile or gesture was scrutinized, often criticized, and sometimes even modified according to the whims of the studio. This unrelenting oversight created an environment where creativity was stifled and personal expression became a rare luxury. WinKLER's personal instincts, the nuances that made him charismatic and genuine, were often suppressed in order to maintain the flawless, marketable image of the Fonz. The psychological toll of these demands was immense. Henry was forced to adhere to strict protocols, from wardrobe choices to hairstyling, from line delivery to posture, and even to minor facial expressions. Each instruction was meant to preserve continuity and brand integrity, but it came at the cost of his individuality. Co-stars noticed moments when WinKLER appeared tense or withdrawn, though on camera, he radiated confidence and charm. The actor had to constantly perform dual roles: the beloved character the audience adored, and a compliant professional who obeyed every command from the production hierarchy. Many on the outside would assume that playing the Fonz was effortless fun, but behind the scenes, it was a test of endurance, patience, and emotional strength unlike any other. WinKLER's personal life was not immune from these pressures. He had to carefully navigate interactions with the media, fans, and even friends to prevent any deviation from the meticulously crafted persona the studio demanded. Any misstep could generate controversy, or worse, jeopardize his career. The Fonz had become a symbol, not just a character, and WinKLER's every public move reflected on the show, the network, and the broader cultural brand. This burden created stress that few actors encounter, as the boundary between professional obligations and personal identity became increasingly blurred. WinKLER had to develop coping mechanisms, maintaining composure under constant scrutiny while hiding his own doubts and frustrations. During this period, Henry also faced challenges in his relationships with co-stars. While some friendships flourished, others were strained by the studio's relentless focus on hierarchy, screen time, and maintaining the perfect public image. Rivalries and tensions, often subtle and invisible to viewers, could flare at any moment, yet Henry was expected to remain diplomatic and cheerful at all times. The demand to uphold an idealized persona both on and off the set led to moments of isolation, as WinKLER learned that not every interaction could be fully authentic. He had to balance personal bonds with professional decorum, often sacrificing emotional honesty for the sake of career stability. The pressure cooker of the Happy Days set also forced WinKLER into a cycle of extreme self-discipline. He meticulously memorized lines, rehearsed gestures, and monitored his own performance to ensure compliance with the producer's expectations. Yet, even perfection was not enough. Studio executives frequently demanded adjustments to performances, sometimes contradicting previous directives, creating a constant sense of instability and insecurity. WinKLER's resilience was tested daily, as he had to absorb criticism, correct himself on the spot, and continue performing with charm and consistency. The Fonz, an icon of cool and effortless confidence, was in fact a product of extraordinary effort, discipline, and personal sacrifice. One of the most shocking aspects of Henry's experience was the extended control over his personal expression. He was instructed on what to say in interviews, how to interact with fans at public events, and even how to respond to journalists' questions. These measures were presented as standard professional protocol, but in reality, they were designed to protect the show's brand at the cost of WinKLER's own voice. In private, he struggled with feelings of restriction, realizing that his fame was both a blessing and a cage. While the public saw effortless cool, WinKLER was constantly negotiating the tension between personal authenticity and professional obligation. The relentless scrutiny of WinKLER's every move extended to his physical appearance as well. Hair, posture, wardrobe, and even facial expressions were subject to review and correction. The studio demanded consistency, not only for continuity across episodes, but also to maintain the iconic image of the Fonz as a cultural symbol. This strict enforcement of visual branding was unprecedented for many actors at the time and created a daily regimen that left little room for spontaneity or personal creativity. Henry had to maintain perfect composure, smile at the right moments, and project an image of effortless charm, all while privately dealing with stress, fatigue, and personal doubts. Behind the scenes, Henry's emotional resilience was tested in ways that audiences could never perceive. There were days when exhaustion, stress, and self-doubt threatened to overwhelm him, yet he continued to deliver performances that were consistently compelling and charismatic. The Fonz became larger than life, a character loved worldwide, but the man behind the leather jacket was often quietly struggling. WinKLER's experience highlights a truth that Hollywood rarely acknowledges. The cultivation of a beloved persona can come at tremendous personal cost, requiring actors to suppress their own needs, desires, and even emotions in service of a character or brand. During this period, WinKLER also had to contend with the broader dynamics of television production. Decisions regarding scripts, episode arcs, and character interactions were largely made without his input, yet his portrayal was expected to align perfectly with the producer's vision. When disagreements arose, he often had no choice but to comply, even if it meant compromising his own artistic instincts. These compromises, though invisible to fans, contributed to the tension and emotional strain he experienced throughout his tenure on the show. Despite these constraints, Henry managed to infuse the Fonz with warmth, humor, and authenticity, a testament to his extraordinary talent and professionalism. Even as the show's popularity soared, Henry's personal struggles persisted. The constant need to maintain composure, charm, and public appeal placed enormous pressure on his mental and emotional well-being. He developed routines to manage stress, including private reflection, physical exercise, and close confidants who could offer support away from the cameras. These coping strategies were essential to his survival in an environment that prioritized image and profitability over human consideration. WinKLER's story reveals a hidden labor, emotional resilience, and strategic navigation required to sustain fame, particularly when the very elements that made an actor beloved also become sources of pressure and limitation. By the mid-series, it became clear that the Fonz's public image was a double-edged sword. While adored by millions, the character perfection and the studio's rigid rules left WinKLER little room for personal or creative expression. Even moments of improvisation were tightly controlled, with producers closely reviewing every gesture, line, and facial expression. The Fonz had to remain flawless, and Henry was tasked with maintaining this illusion at all costs. The discrepancy between public perception and private reality became increasingly stark, contributing to emotional strain, exhaustion, and at times a sense of isolation. Yet, Henry's dedication to the craft and his character never wavered. He understood the importance of the Fonz to the show's success, its cultural impact, and the millions of fans who idolized the character. Still, the personal sacrifices were immense. Time, freedom, emotional well-being, and even creative fulfillment were often secondary to the demands of maintaining a flawless image. Behind the scenes, WinKLER continued to navigate complex dynamics with co-stars, producers, and network executives, balancing diplomacy, professionalism, and the subtle assertion of his own needs. The story of Henry WinKLER on Happy Days is a stark reminder of the hidden realities of Hollywood fame. While audiences saw effortless charm, humor, and charisma, the actor endured strict rules, surveillance, and emotional strain that few could comprehend. These pressures tested not only his professional skill, but also his personal resilience, highlighting the gap between public perception and private experience. WinKLER's journey exemplifies how fame can be as demanding as it is rewarding, and how the demands of Hollywood often exact a high personal cost on those who are celebrated. And this is only part of the story. In the final block, we will reveal the most shocking consequences of these strict rules, the moments that nearly broke Henry WinKLER, and the revelations about how his experience on Happy Days reshaped his personal and professional life forever. Make sure to stay tuned, subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. If you can, support the channel with a super thanks. Your contribution helps bring these hidden truths to the light. The full story is coming, and it's more shocking than you can imagine. As the final seasons of Happy Days progressed, the cumulative effect of the unyielding rules became increasingly apparent. Behind the scenes, Henry WinKLER experienced moments of profound frustration, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion that few could imagine from the outside. Every choice, from how he delivered a line to the subtle inflections of his facial expressions, was scrutinized. Even minor deviations from the established Fonz persona were noticed, sometimes resulting in tense meetings with producers or network executives. WinKLER had become a master of discipline, but the cost was steep. His personal identity and emotional freedom were constrained by the very character that had brought him fame. Despite the outward perception of effortless charm, WinKLER struggled privately with the dissonance between who he was and the expectations imposed on him. The Fonz was celebrated as a cultural icon, smooth, confident, and perpetually in control, yet Henry often felt trapped, forced to perform under constant surveillance. On-set camaraderie sometimes provided relief, but it could not erase the weight of relentless oversight. Even off-camera, interactions with colleagues, journalists, and fans had to be filtered through the lens of corporate expectations. There was little room for spontaneity or authentic emotional expression, and WinKLER became acutely aware of the tension between professional obligation and personal truth. The psychological strain was compounded by the fact that WinKLER had no control over many aspects of production. Scripts, character arcs, and creative decisions were dictated by producers and executives, leaving him little room to innovate or influence the narrative direction. At times, the demands of continuity and brand management conflicted with his instincts as an actor. He had to constantly navigate these pressures, balancing compliance with subtle assertion of his artistic sensibilities. This delicate act of negotiation was mentally exhausting, and it gradually began to take a toll on his overall well-being. One of the most shocking aspects of Henry's experience was the extreme vigilance required over public appearances. Every interview, every public photo opportunity, and every interaction with fans was essentially scripted and controlled. Missteps could trigger negative press, affect ratings, or disrupt the show's meticulously curated image. WinKLER had to become hyper-aware of his words, gestures, and even body language. This level of control was unprecedented for many actors of the era and added an invisible layer of pressure that intensified over time. The actor who embodied the Fonz's rebellious charm was, paradoxically, among the most controlled figures on set. WinKLER's personal life was equally affected. Maintaining relationships and social connections became complicated, as his every move could potentially attract public attention or misinterpretation. Privacy was scarce, and personal space had to be vigilantly protected. The actor faced the daunting challenge of balancing fame with personal authenticity, a struggle made more difficult by the studio's insistence on a consistent, marketable image. Even small personal choices, what he wore to an event, how he interacted with friends or family, were monitored and often influenced by the expectations of the network and producers. As the show reached its peak popularity, Henry's emotional resilience was tested further. Episodes were filmed under tight deadlines, long hours, and exacting standards that left little room for rest or reflection. The physical demands of maintaining perfect posture, consistent expressions, and precise timing in comedic sequences were significant. Combined with the psychological strain of constant scrutiny, WinKLER's ability to cope required extraordinary discipline and mental fortitude. Behind the scenes, the charm and ease seen on screen masked a man exerting immense effort to meet impossible standards. There were also moments of conflict and disagreement that, while discreetly handled, contributed to a sense of isolation. Co-stars sometimes clashed over creative differences or screen focus, while executives pushed their own agendas. WinKLER had to maintain professionalism while managing internal tension, often mediating disputes or acquiescing to decisions he privately questioned. The requirement to appear agreeable and composed at all times intensified the emotional burden, creating a high-stakes environment where every interaction mattered and misjudgments could have lasting consequences. The most profound consequence of the rigid rules was their cumulative effect on WinKLER's sense of self. The longer he maintained the Fonz persona under these constraints, the more he realized the extent to which his personal identity was intertwined with his professional obligations. Moments of private reflection revealed the costs, the sacrifices, the suppressed creativity, and the ongoing stress of living under a relentless microscope. These pressures were largely invisible to the public, who only saw the effortless cool and humor that defined the Fonz. WinKLER's struggle underscores a harsh reality of Hollywood fame. The greater the public adoration, the higher the personal toll. Despite these challenges, Henry's professionalism and dedication never wavered. He delivered performances that were consistent, engaging, and beloved by millions. Yet beneath the surface, the emotional and psychological costs were substantial. He became adept at compartmentalizing, finding brief moments of personal reprieve, and relying on close confidants who understood the unique pressures he faced. These coping mechanisms were vital to his survival and allowed him to continue performing at an exceptional level despite the constant constraints. The end of Happy Days marked a turning point. WinKLER emerged as a seasoned professional, having endured the harshest conditions of network television while preserving the integrity of his character. The lessons learned from years of strict oversight shaped not only his approach to acting, but also his understanding of personal boundaries, creative autonomy, and emotional resilience. These experiences would inform his future choices, allowing him to navigate Hollywood with a strategic perspective and deeper appreciation for the balance between career and personal well-being. WinKLER's story serves as a cautionary tale about the hidden costs of fame. While audiences saw laughter, charm, and effortless charisma, The reality was a life under continuous scrutiny and control. The rules imposed on him, though framed as professional standards, were in many ways a form of confinement that tested his endurance and strength. His journey illuminates the tension between public perception and private reality, highlighting the resilience required to sustain a long and successful career in an industry that often prioritizes image over humanity. Ultimately, the harsh rules on Happy Days did not break Henry Winkler completely, but they left an indelible mark. He emerged wiser, more disciplined, and deeply aware of the complexities of fame. His experience reveals that behind every beloved character, there may be untold stories of struggle, sacrifice, and resilience that the public never sees. Winkler's legacy is thus twofold: a cultural icon beloved worldwide, and a testament to the personal fortitude required to thrive under relentless pressure. So, as we conclude this exploration of the hidden truths behind Henry Winkler and Happy Days, remember to subscribe, like, and comment on which revelations shock you the most. Your support not only helps the channel grow, but also ensures that more untold stories from Hollywood's hidden corners are brought to light. If possible, consider using a super thanks to contribute financially. Your support enables even deeper investigations into the truths behind the legends. Don't miss a chance to reflect on how the smiling, leather-jacketed Fonz was shaped by rules and pressures that tested every ounce of Henry Winkler's resilience and determination.